put this under the category of what could possibly go wrong. Bank of America has a new program to encourage home ownership among blacks and Latinos, because after all, many blacks and Latinos, when they apply for mortgages, get turned down because they don't follow the normal lending criteria. So Bank of America is now having a program to allow some blacks and some Hispanics to get homes with no money down. Instead of relying on credit scores, Bank of America plans to consider a blend of other factors, including histories of paying rent, paying auto insurance, and other bills on time. And of course, income will be a factor, but their program is going to focus on low-income urban neighborhoods. Now, I started out by saying what could possibly go wrong. I'll tell you what could possibly go wrong. In the 90s, a young lawyer named Barack Obama filed a class action lawsuit along with other lawyers against Citigroup. Why? There were 186 black plaintiffs who claimed that they were turned down for mortgages because of racism. Bank of America said we turned them down because they did not meet our lending criteria. So they were sued. And Bank of America settled by giving 186 people mortgages. Well, fast forward, several years later, only 19 of the 186 clients still own the homes with clean ratings. This is more than a decade after Obama and other people pushed the banks to provide mortgages to poor blacks. How bad was it? One of the plaintiffs, his name is Don Byas, B-Y-A-S, said this: if you see some people don't make enough money to afford their mortgage, why should you give them a loan? Well, duh. That's exactly what Citicorp said when they didn't give them the loan. There should be some type of regulation against giving people loans they can't afford. He also said the banks were, quote, too eager to lend to many who didn't qualify, end of quote. Another client said the same thing. If people don't have the ability to pay it back, you ought not give them a loan. Exactly what Citicorp said. So we're going to be monitoring this. Let's find out how many of these people who got these loans under criteria that anybody else would have been rejected on still have their homes with clean ratings. By the way, several of these 186 plaintiffs filed for bankruptcy, suggesting that the Citicorp was properly applying their lending criteria and that it is doing a disservice to give people homes they cannot keep. When Obama became president, from 2010 to 2013, when white net worth flatlined, black net worth declined 1/3, and over 30% decline in black net worth. Why? Well, because several years earlier, people like Barack Obama pressured banks into giving people loans who otherwise could not afford them. And when the recession came, as recessions do, it wasn't just people becoming insecure about their jobs. They lost their homes and everything they put into those homes. So you did not do these people favor by giving them homes they cannot afford. And I believe the same thing is going to happen ultimately to these people in this program from Bank of America. But we'll find out. Now, California teachers caught monitoring parents who advocated schools being reopened. California Teachers Union criticized parents for demanding that the schools be reopened, even said that it was led by white supremacists. And so there's a grassroots group called Reopen California Schools, and they posted public records that showed the California Teachers Association launched a research effort in coordination with allied parents to sniff out the, quote, ideological leaning, close quote, of funding sources that sued to reopen the schools. California schools dubbed the effort opposition research Now, keep in mind, these parents wanted the schools open. The California teachers did not. And now, fast forward, we're finding out these kids have lost a whole year, almost 2 years of education. They've lost points on math. They've lost points on English. And those who were disproportionately hurt by all of this were, of course, the black and brown students that people on the left claim that they care about. And rather than try and work with people to reopen the schools, they did opposition research, they put it, on these organizations that wanted the schools. The head of the largest teachers association in California, United Teachers of Los Angeles, said that the move to reopen the school was being led by white supremacists. I kid you not. Even though LAUSD, the Los Angeles Unified School District, maybe 9 or 10% of the kids are white. Karine Jean-Pierre, is blaming Donald Trump for schools being closed during COVID?
The National Assessment of Educational Progress has this new testing that shows that 9-year-olds lost ground in both math and reading in pretty dramatic ways as a result of the pandemic. What is the president going to do about it? What is the administration going to do about this severe learning loss? And does the administration shoulder any blame for not pushing schools to reopen sooner?
So let's step back to where we were not too long ago when this president walked into this administration, how mismanaged the pandemic, the response to the pandemic was.
In other words, blame Trump. Trump did not want to shut down the economy. Trump did not want to shut down the schools. Blame Trump.
How 47% of schools were in less than 6 months. Our schools went from 46% to open to nearly all of them being open to full time. That was the work of this president, and that was the work of Democrats, in spite of Republicans not voting for the American Rescue Plan, which $130 billion went to school to have the ventilation, to be able to have the tutoring and the teachers and being able to hire more teachers. And that was because of the work that this administration did.
So you see, it was the Trump administration that shut down the schools. It wasn't the Biden administration. You know, Dr. Fauci said that he never recommended shutting anything down. He's on tape recommending that we shut things down. The Biden administration, they didn't want to shut anything down. It was Donald Trump.
We were in a place where, again, schools were not open. The economy was shut down. Businesses were shut down. And what we have seen is, we've seen the numbers, but I think that's...
And you remember how Ron DeSantis, a Republican, was criticized for keeping his state open? And now it's these dastardly Republicans that wanted to shut the schools down. We Democrats, we wanted to open them. Honestly.
What we see, that's how we saw, it shows you how mismanaged the pandemic was and how the impact of that mismanagement had on on kids' progress.
You remember the then Governor Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo of New York, who put all these COVID patients in nursing homes and then lied about the number of people who died? He wasn't a Republican, he was a Democrat. And the media was praising what he was doing, praising the shutdowns. But now, all of a sudden, the same administration that said inflation is transitory is now blaming Donald Trump for school closures and for the loss of learning that these kids have suffered.